Yo, what's up? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? You're about to go to sleep? What the fuck, man? Yeah. No, I know. You just caught me at the end. Like it's crazy, dude. Crazy, dude. Crazy. I was gonna declare my bias first. Here's the thing. Real quick right here. Types aren't bad. TypeScript is bad. Okay. Let's just get that distinction out of the way. Okay. Really sucks when they're working on the server and all of a sudden it just crashes because some type error in the back end, right? It just crashes, and that's bad. That's money lost. People don't like losing money. It's very bad, very bad. So the solution is TypeScript. No. The solution is JS doc. It's JS doc. The solution is JS doc. And or you can use ESLint. No, types are not necessarily bad. Okay. You should always be thinking about types, right? You should always be thinking about types. Whether you're in a supposedly type safe language or not, right? You should always be thinking about types. With JavaScript, you need to know the truthy and falsy values and what type gets converted into what and how it does things. Like, for example, right? You wouldn't add the number to a string, the number. Otherwise, you might have some weird results. You should always, do math on the proper type, right? You're learning JS right now, actually. Oh my fuck! I thought you were learning that earlier, dude. I thought you were learning that earlier. Did you finally do the fetch API request? I did actually see that what you posted. So yeah. My buddy over here, he's all like, "Oh yeah, I have this homework assignment." It's all like, yeah. But the teacher said we will go with TypeScript for the rest of the course. I didn't do the whole set. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that. Here's the thing. So here's what the schools are doing. The schools are looking at the business, right, to inform them what they should be teaching, because they're desperately trying to be relevant, right? And then the programmers themselves who are in the field are tasked with, hey, you programmer, you need to be up to date. So we're all like, okay, let's go be up to date, and then we get up to date, and then all of a sudden there's no jobs for what we're up to date for. So yeah. That's just kind of how it works. It's kind of like oh Jesus, program streams kind of like getting red. Just cut out. Oh, okay. Yeah. I just saw my stream go red. Yeah, for a second. But yeah. And I had to increase the delay a little bit because I think YouTube's having some issues with streaming lately. I've noticed Primogen is even having issues as well too. So here's what I'm thinking. We're gonna go watch a few videos. Let's talk about Bun for a second, right? So yeah, everyone on Twitter is talking about Bun this, Bun that. Bun JS. Oh my God, so great. Wait, I gotta turn on my juice here. Give me 1 second. That was probably really loud. Anyway. Let me get that set up. All right. Let's see here. Let's turn this on. Where's my window? Shut. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, there we go. So let's go over here and watch a good old fire ship, right? But yeah. Let's just start off with the TypeScript sucks. Yeah, you can tell what I've been searching. Obviously, I've been looking for lots of content to talk about, and there's lots to talk about. There's lots of people with lots of opinions on TypeScript. But yeah, so Fireship Bun JS. We'll first talk about Bun a little bit, just because it is kind of relevant today. Yeah, the tech news has been kind of really exciting and fast lately. So yeah. Bun first look JS just got way faster, disrupting JavaScript land.
2023, and
Can you hear that?
the code
Yeah.
report. Yesterday was a huge day for soy devs. Mojo became generally available, a superset of Python that's up to 35,000 times faster. But JavaScript also got way faster thanks to a new Swiss Army knife called Bun, and that means it's time for some new stickers on my MacBook Pro. JavaScript developers have grown tired of reinventing new frameworks, so now we're building entirely new JavaScript runtimes. In the beginning, we had Node.js, then rearranged the letters to make Dino, and now we've got Bun fresh out of the oven, which just hit 1.0 this morning. And you should take notice because it can run your JavaScript code faster than any other tool known to man. But not just that, it also acts as a bundler like Webpack or Vite, a test runner like Jest or Karma, and a package manager like NPM or Yarn.
So yeah, what I do find a bit concerning about Bun is it's trying to do a lot of things at once, right? And it's trying to do them faster. I mean, it sounds great on the surface, right? But I feel like it's trying to do too many things at once, and it might become pretty unmaintainable. It's just hot out, fresh off the press, a lot of bugs. I mean, I had a quick look about what they've implemented so far and what they're about to implement. We're talking about things like you can do like, the difference between import and export. Like we had, like I remember you and I were having this issue, Martinez. We had this issue where we couldn't use import statements for certain libraries, and I had to quickly think and say, oh, we had to make the require one. Well, no more. Doesn't matter. You can do import, require, whatever you want. You can do import and require in the same file, and it won't care. I hope they do a good job. The developer. I've heard some things from a developer Discord that I'm a part of. I think his name is like Trash Dev or something like that, which is great because I got the shirt that says I am Trash Man. So, but require and import. So yeah, require is the common JS way of doing it, or what I would call Node.js as you might call it, because you don't usually use require in the front end context whenever you're using JavaScript on the front end. And the import syntax, well, that's ES6 syntax. That is that is supposedly the new syntax, even though it's been around since like 15 or something like that. So it's been around for quite a while. Excuse me, burpy drink makes me burpy. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. So yeah, that's not a problem anymore. But anyway, yes.
In addition, it's almost fully compatible with existing Node.js APIs, but has its own set of highly optimized APIs that actually make it fun to build high-performance server-side applications with JavaScript. Before we get into it, though, I want to show you another awesome new tool from our sponsor, DevGPT.
Oh
By
boy.
now, you've heard of tools like ChatGPT and Copilot, but DevGPT takes AI code generation to the next level by integrating directly with your Git repo, giving the AI the full context of your tech stack and project. After writing a prompt to fix a bug or create a feature, it'll ask follow-up questions to write highly targeted and useful code. Once the code is generated, you can then sync those changes to your local project instantly. Then you could prompt it to generate some unit tests to validate that code. It's like having an automated engineer by your side who can take care of your GitHub issues and Jira tickets instantly without complaining. You can try it out for free yourself right now with the link below. But now let's get back to Bun. First,
I do want to try that out, by the way. That does sound pretty cool, but yeah.
First of all, how do they make this thing so fast? One major difference compared to Node and Dino, which uses the V8 engine from Chrome, Bun uses JavaScript Core from Safari, which is known to be optimized for faster startup times. In addition, Bun is implemented in the Zig programming language. They've put a focus on profiling performance bottlenecks and implement APIs in native code. The end result is a hello world with TypeScript that's 5 times faster than ES build. Keep in mind though, benchmarks can always be cherry-picked and rarely reflect real-world performance. It's fun to go fast, but because I only have 12 monthly active users on my website, it doesn't make a huge difference for me. What I care about is the developer experience. Can Bun make my life easier? Well, first up, it's got awesome TypeScript support out of the box. You can immediately start writing TypeScript code without
One quick little blurb about the whole site thing. It's not just users, right? I mean, you could be scraping something, and you could be using the backend to scrape something like maybe like 15,000 results or something like that. That speed would be very nice to have, for example. Even just normal, regular JavaScript expressions. Actually, Primogen was actually doing a few tests earlier, just a couple hours earlier, and he found out that yeah, it's a lot faster to do it with Bun in a lot of things. And just doing even like a console.log is like super fast, right? Talking like 8 milliseconds versus 82 in Node. Pretty fucking fast, And if you do that over a whole large project, right? Or if say you have like 15,000 results, that's a lot of time saved. It's a lot of time saved. It's very faster. If it's faster, that means more people get served. Wonderful things. This improvement just kind of compounds on itself. I like it when it compounds on itself,
any configuration or headaches. And it also supports JSX and hot reloading, which means you don't need any weird dependencies like node, mon, and concurrently to recompile your code when things change. That's cool, but one of the absolute worst things about Node has been the transition from CommonJS to ES.
Yes.
What's cool about Bun is that you can just use import and require in the same file, and everything just magically works. And it's compatible with existing Node.js packages, which means you don't have to reinvent the wheel for every little thing you want to implement. Dino also added npm NPM support as well recently, but what I really like about Bun is its native APIs. For example, to read and write to the file system, we can access the global Bun runtime and make a reference to a file, then lazily read it or parse its JSON. That may not seem like a big deal, but in Node.js, there are three different ways to do the same thing. Read file with
Thanks for coming. I really appreciate it. Yeah.
callbacks, read
You
file
too,
with
you
promises,
too.
or read file
Yeah.
with sync. You can actually use all of those in Bun, but not only are the native APIs faster, they're easier to use. In addition, it's extremely easy to set up an HTTP server in Bun by simply calling the serve method. You then use familiar browser primitives like fetch and response to build your API. That'll take you pretty far, but there's also frameworks that work with Bun like Elysia that claims to be 18 times faster than Express.js and Node. Bun also works with Hono, which has been my go-to.
Hono means flame. Oh, okay. That's kind of cool. I do want to try Elysia. Elysia looks like fun. I do want to see what the bun system is a lot like. Really interested in the Beth stack that some of these people have been like touting lately. It's really cool. You get started with the Beth stack, which is like it's like Bun, Elysia. What is it? I don't know what the T is, but I know the H is the HTMX, right? I think yeah. I forget what that was, but it is starting to look pretty cool. You could make something like you could rewrite Twitter or like that if you had like HTMX and like using the Beth stack. That would be like a perfect candidate for like a Twitter or a very social media like website. That would be like the perfect use case for it.
Framework for building APIs recently. Bun has tons of other simplifications as well, like it makes WebSockets nice and simple out of the box without any extra dependencies, and you can use environment variables without things like .env. Pretty cool, but as the name implies, Bun is also a bundler. The Bun build command will take all your source files and then combine them into a single output that can be used in a browser. And based on this benchmark, it's pretty amazing how much faster things have gotten just since Webpack 5 a couple years ago. Oh, and another really cool thing is that Bun has a SQLite database built directly into the runtime. It's incredibly convenient to have a relational database without the need to install and configure a bunch of drivers. Another thing we need to talk about though is the Bun pack.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's trying to do too much. Like having SQLite. I mean, that could be useful, right? But like, I don't know. I don't know if that's a good idea to have an SQLite database in there. I mean, maybe you could store some. I don't know. You could use it for like cache or maybe or something like that. I don't know how I feel about that, honestly. But
package manager that's up to 25 times faster than NPM, and it's actually a standalone tool that can be used in any Node.js project today. If you want to make things go faster right now, replace npx with a command like bunks say hello world, which allows you to save a few precious milliseconds when saying hi to your mom, which is important because you never know how much time you have left to do that. This has been the Code Report. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.
Right. Okay. Now we've done our homage. We've done our homage to Bun.js. Yes, everyone in JavaScript land is worshiping the bun and arguing over types. This is what happens in JavaScript land today, I suppose. Alrighty. So yeah. TypeScript. Let's get back to the real. Oh wow! It's recommending my own video. Look at that. YouTube, you're so smart. Fix your shit. please. Okay. But yeah, so let's just say it's not just me that thinks that TypeScript is kind of trash, right? We have some really big players in the market. DHH, for example, he's now made a name for himself by just giving the middle finger to all of his TypeScript devs that contributed to his project. So that's kind of interesting. So
It is September 7th, 2023, and you're watching the Code Report. Many years ago in 2017, legendary JavaScript user Kent C. Dodds said, "I don't use TypeScript, so I don't ever plan on supporting it."
Based.
In 2019, he goes on to say, "Your impassioned love of TypeScript is sort of freaking me out." And
also based.
Finally, in 2023 comes capitulation. TypeScript is won, and it's only a matter of time you're using it whether you like it or not. But this is the sign of a good developer.
Wrong.
You have to be open-minded
Incorrect.
and willing to adapt to new tools.
Wrong.
Sometimes tools you don't even like. But the big question here is, did TypeScript really win? Because recently, the turns it started to table.
Win.
A bunch of big open source projects have decided to ditch TypeScript in favor of vanilla JavaScript. To understand the shocking turn of events, we'll need to go back to the very beginning in 2012 when TypeScript was first released by Microsoft.
Wow, 2012. It seems to be the year of shitty technologies. 2012, we have React, and then 2012, we also have TypeScript. TypeScript from Microsoft, and React from Facebook. React from Facebook, remember? Well, gzipped and minified. That's from the creator himself. He's like, well, gzipped and minified, you know. But that was 2012. That was a decade ago. We've learned so much from that, you know. It can be forgiven if it's, you know, a decade old, but you know, it's 20 it's a decade later, and now it's become the equivalent of jQuery, my friends. It's the equivalent of jQuery. React is like really complicated jQuery. It's just not good. And TypeScript, likewise. I wouldn't, if it's that old. In fact, yeah, TypeScript would be on the level of jQuery. In fact, it should be phased out at this point. It should be considered legacy technology, and we should move on. But unfortunately, no one has made anything better yet. According to, you know, no one's made anything better yet, and JavaScript is in this weird position where it's been used to, it was solely designed to be on the front end, right? And that's kind of where its use case was. It's weakly typed. It'll accept all sorts of types, you know, because you never know what you're going to get from a server, right? Like, no one thought about putting JavaScript on a server. Fast forward, someone makes the V8 engine, right? And now we have server-side JavaScript. Now there's a lot of wheels being reinvented, and it's just so, sorry, full. It's just so convenient to just, you know, write things in JavaScript, especially when you can just write it all across the stack, right? If you don't have to, if you can use a fetch API request and then send back another fetch API or another one, you know, and just trade JSON and just do it in JavaScript, it just makes sense, you know, because you're working with JSON, you're working with which is a native data format for JavaScript, you know, it kind of makes sense. And then you make a database that also is basically JSON. Everything's JSON, everything's JavaScript. It's beautiful. It's simplicity, but unfortunately, there's a few problems that we had to deal with when we tried to achieve that simplicity, and that was, you know, the JavaScript runtime engine. That was the problem, which we finally optimized with Bun. So, you know, which is great, and then there remains the other problem of the types, right? Personally, I don't think you need types in your front-end code. JavaScript was meant to be a weakly typed language for a reason, right? Now, when you throw it on a server, and I speak from experience, and just even developing my own projects, like even the simple little project that I was throwing up here, I'll show you, Boku no Hero Smash or Pass, right? That, I had a lot of issues. There was a lot of type error issues that literally would crash the server, you know, and that's not good. We want the server to always be up, you know. And even Oil Filter API has suffered the same problem. However, I attribute it to not using Express, which I chose hard mode with the, when I made Oil Filter API, I chose hard mode. If I could do things over, I would do it in HTMX. So maybe that would be a good one to redo in HTMX. However, there is a lot of data that has been scraped, and I still think it needs to get more usage, and I think we'll just continue working with the current technology as it is, even if it is becoming a bit legacy at this point. So yeah, TypeScript, not completely bad. All right, I will admit this, and there are some cases where it is very, very useful, but it is not a lot of cases. You know, there is a very small gain for a lot of complexity added, and let's see what else we have here. And we have some more articles that DHH himself, the guy who wrote Turbo, right? The guy who was writing Turbo, which is, I think it's another JavaScript framework, right? Let's just do a quick search here, right? Let's do a quick search here. Turbo.js, right? The speed of single page web application without having to write any JavaScript. Wow, cool, very cool. Let's see. But here's what I want to know though. Like, where are the docs? Where is there a handbook? We got a handbook. We got a reference. see. Turbo bundles several techniques for creating fast, modernly, progressively enhanced web applications without using much JavaScript. It offers a simpler alternative to the prevailing client-side frameworks, which put all the logic on the front end, and confine the server side of your app to being little more than a JSON API. With Turbo, you let the server deliver the HTML directly, which means all the logic for checking permissions, interacting directly with your domain model, and everything else goes into a programming and application can happen more or less exclusively within your favorite programming language. You're no longer mirroring logic on both sides of the JSON divide. All the logic lives on the server, and the browser just deals with the final HTML. And so that all of our server devs, right, who are our backend devs, they love to hear that. They love to hear that. Personally, I don't mind putting all the logic on the front end. I don't mind doing that. It's kind of fun. I like it. It's because you get to see what happens a lot easier, and you have a built-in engine that can just kind of debug for you, and the debugger's literally built into the browser. It's great. I love it. But yeah, so it looks like it's very similar to HTMX, right? But we still have these custom components things, and yeah, it seems like we're moving back towards SOAP, where we send back HTML, which is fine. I used to think it's kind of dumb, but when I had a look at when I did the HTMX stream, and you saw how simple the ChatGPT application was, how many lines of code was done, literally a third of what I was writing. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And sometimes the old way of doing things is indeed better, especially if we have better tools nowadays to, try and fix those issues, So as you can say, not all progress is forward progress, right? Not all progress is forward progress. But DHH has written, this man who wrote Turbo, right? He has made several articles, and I will go ahead and read them a few. But yes, Turbo 8 is dropping TypeScript, right? By all accounts, TypeScript has been a big success for Microsoft. Yeah, Microsoft. I hate Microsoft, by the way. One of the reasons I don't like TypeScript, and one of the reasons I am biased against TypeScript, and I will say this clearly, just so anyone hearing me knows. Yeah, I don't like Microsoft. I don't like microchip. Very bad experiences. Literally had a computer, ate my hard drive, and now Microsoft is just trying to embrace, extend, extinguish any technology it can, and is trying to do that with open source, and it tried to do that with TypeScript. The actual person who made TypeScript, right, he created C#, and that is why everyone says TypeScript is just C# in JavaScript. It's like if he could write JavaScript in C#, that's how he does it. So yeah. That's it's basically they're trying to give you C#. They're trying to feed you C#. Is what Microsoft is trying to do, and they're trying to shove it down your throat as a JavaScript dev, which I don't appreciate that, I don't appreciate that. And another thing is, what else? It also just makes your code base a lot more complex for very little benefit. But let's go ahead and take a read here. By all accounts, TypeScript has been a big success for Microsoft. I've seen loads of people sparkle with joy from dousing JavaScript with explicit types that can be checked by a compiler. But I've never been a fan, not after giving it 5 minutes, not after giving it 5 years. So this guy has given it more time than I have. I've actually worked on a few projects that have used TypeScript, and I didn't like it, but I can over here, I can always turn on any if I have to, and if I have to make a type, then I make a type. I make a custom type that, like a union type. I've had to make union types so I could marry two conflicting types together, which is, it's just the ugliest thing you've ever seen. It was like, it was the longest type I've ever. It was like, which I haven't written many, I'll be honest. But it was a union type, and I think it was like 11 lines of code just to define the type. It's insane, and you shouldn't have to do that, especially when I'm receiving like string data or data that's like already a number. And if it's not a number, then just convert it to a string, to a number anyway, right? Because whatever. Because we were expecting data, and this was like for making like these really pretty graphs, for this company I was a part of. I was making really pretty graphs, and they were like, huh, this graph doesn't scale, and all these icons are like they're all mismatched and whatnot, and I had to go and solve that. And I went above and beyond just to kind of impress them. I was like, yeah, I'll just add a little debounce function so the page doesn't lag out whenever you're resizing the page, you know? And I think they actually appreciate that, and they should. But whatever, they just didn't like my work style, so. Not after, yeah. So it was with great pleasure that I can announce we're dropping TypeScript for the next big release of Turbo 8. Yeah. The fact is, I actually rather like JavaScript. I go as far to say it's my second favorite language after Ruby. Yes, a distant second. Yes, this David. I do not understand your love for Ruby. I mean, yes, it is a pretty language. I will give you that, but it's a slow language. Please fix it. Give it a better. I think Ruby needs like Bun.js. If I could run Ruby on Bun.js, then I might give it a try. But JavaScript is a distant second to him, so he wants to make it clear. It's like, I don't even like JavaScript, Phil, but I still think it's better than TypeScript. Second nonetheless. It wasn't always the case, but we got proper classes in JavaScript and other improvements that flowed since ES6. It's become a real joy to write, and yeah, honestly, it has. After ES6, I mean, minus the class syntax. I mean, because I was already using like prototypal inheritance, which is actually works really well. And it's almost like it's like the concept of tables in Lua. It's very similar to the concept of tables in Lua when you do prototypal inheritance in JavaScript. You can have like a prototype, which is like your little constructor, right? And then you can make new little objects from that constructor that you've defined, your prototypal constructor. And you can just add little properties on the fly, right, as you want to. Like sometimes I'll add a Boolean. Like what I've done is I've added like Boolean to my objects to like tell an ORM that I made for. Well, I wouldn't really call it an ORM. It's more like a. Well, I guess you could call it an ORM, right? Because like what I did was I took data from the client and I passed the data onto the server, and then I put it into an object, right? And I gave it a query tag. I gave it a few tags on the object. So like whenever I passed the object to the to Mongoose to do the query, it would separate these objects that I made myself into specific queries, right? Am I fetching data? Am I updating data? Am I getting data or am I writing it? Right? Very simple. So it's kind of like the same principle as GraphQL, right? Same principle as GraphQL. So what would happen was these objects would get sorted into query types, right? And then depending on the query type, we go through the else if chain, right? And then the object would move down to, oh, okay, we're looking for oil filters or something like that, And then it takes the data, it pulls all the data it can find from the oil filters, document, right? Retrieves the oil filters, sends it back, right? We send it back to the client, bada bing, bada boom. We got our data. So, yeah. But yeah, I still don't think JavaScript is well suited for most of the work we do on the server side on the web app equation. Very true. It's not really well suited. There are things you can do to mitigate this without TypeScript, and I'll go over that in a little bit. But fully respect and appreciate that others feel differently. To me, it's simply our good fortune that we now have such a capable JavaScript, which browsers are able to interpret without any need for a compiler at all. Same. TypeScript just gets in the way of that for me. Not just because it requires an explicit compile step, but because it pollutes the code with type gymnastics that add ever so little joy to my development experience. Yeah, I get that too. And especially when, and the Fireship actually made a video about this, saying, oh yeah, whenever you're making in a library, I have to do some type gymnastics as well, And he's like, oh yeah, I gotta type void, right? And, like I saw his code for his library that he was writing, and he's just typing void, returning void. It's very bad. He said he could use any, but his boss forces him to, apparently. So yeah, which is a lot of unnecessary overhead when JavaScript is very capable of interpreting the type you want. in the situation you've laid out for. And then you could say, oh, well, you don't know how your code's going to be used later, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, well, sure, but, there's a common use case for it, right? I mean, as long as it's not going to break a server and bring it down, bringing down a server with a type error in JavaScript is a real thing. I've done it multiple times, so. But yeah, if it's a server thing, I get it. But if it's on a client side thing, whatever. The UI doesn't show or something like that. The site wasn't taken down, so it's not a catastrophic failure. I mean, it could be catastrophic, but in a lot of cases, it's not. A simple type error is very easy to fix, right? Very easy to check for. But it's, sometimes, what if the code base is big and types get shit? Well, then you just wrote a bad code base and you're dealing with something called tech debt, which you should have fixed a long time ago, but you didn't do. So now you have to deal with it. So that's just the reality of the programming thing. Tech debt exists in TypeScript as well, right? Tech debt, and I know this. I've seen a C#, not a C# dev. He was like a C++ dev. He was writing a server in TypeScript, right? C++ dev, they need to have their types, right? And they're talking about, oh, they have all like 4 different, maybe 8 different types for like integers or something like that. They have all sorts of different integers, all sorts of, like, they have car types, they have strings, they have all sorts of, variable types they have to keep track of in their head. But JavaScript just isn't like that, and he didn't really know how to take full advantage or realize that he could take full advantage. He just wanted the types to be, a certain way, and then he forced me to have to make a union type because of his code to get things done for the company in a reasonable amount of time. So, and I was talking with him about it, and he's like, oh yeah, TypeScript's great. It's like, I'm kind of with the company on this one. I don't think TypeScript was a good idea for the front end. For the back end, it's fine, but whatever. I still ended up working with him, and he was fine. He knew a lot. He was very knowledgeable about the code base, which is, whenever you're working with someone who's more knowledgeable about the code base than you, they're a resource. You should always use it when you can, if you can, right? In fact, sometimes your success can depend on it, which is really sad. But that's just kind of the reality of things that most people won't acknowledge or tell you. But just something to keep in mind whenever you go to a new job and you have legacy code and the only developer there that can tell you how to do it, just talk his ear off, as much as he'll let you get away with. But yeah, that's the part magic of this JavaScript versus TypeScript dichotomy, and full credit to the TypeScript gang for realizing that a full takeover of JavaScript was never going to happen. So complete compatibility had to be baked in from the start. Just because Turbo 8 is dropping TypeScript doesn't mean you can't write your client code in it, or any other useful library that employs it. We get to mix and match, which is wonderful. Yeah, and I know Bun supports TypeScript now too, which doesn't make me happy, but, it's fine. It's fine, I guess, I could be spiteful and I could just, fork it, but I don't know Zig, and I don't want to take the time to learn Zig, I would call it Banui. .js. Banui. And I would call it a cuter version of JS without the dastardly types. It'd be kind of funny. You get to mix and match. Also, it's also necessary, but because unlike languages like Blueberry, like Ruby, I said Blueberry. I think I was thinking about blueberries. I don't know why. Which are languages of choice when it comes to the server side. JavaScript is a language of necessity when it comes to the client side. While you may compile dialects into it, you still have to accept that running the code in the browser means running JavaScript. So being able to write that free of any tooling and free of any strong typing is a blessing under the circumstances. Yes, Stockholm Syndrome. You have Stockholm Syndrome. Maybe. I don't know. I also think the beauty of it is just being able to prototype very quickly and just express things very simply, And someone who types in Ruby as his first language could definitely appreciate something like that, because Ruby is a pretty language, and you can really... It's also a really hackable language, which is a bit disturbing. So So farewell, TypeScript. May you bring much rigor and satisfaction to your tribe while letting the rest of us enjoy JavaScript, the glorious spirit it was originally designed, free of strong typing. Nice. I think he would accept optional types, David Heinemer Hansen. You know, and you can definitely build servers with ESLint. In fact, when I was developing this site right here, and I was having the site go down because of type errors, I'm like, well, what do I do? What do I do? Well, it's this thing called ESLint, right? Definitely helps a lot, catch a lot of those errors. Yeah, it might not catch all of them, but for like something like this size, ESLint's perfect. In fact, it can catch spelling errors. It can make the code neater, so you can catch more logical errors like that. It's really nice when your code's neat, right? There's also JS-Doc, which is what Svelte decided to use, and I think it's time that I learn how to use JS-Doc, honestly, especially if I'm going to iterate on my own projects and make them a lot bigger than they are. JS-Doc is going to be really helpful in that case. I'm not going to use TypeScript because I don't need to bring it in as an extra dependency, right? And I don't get much benefit from it as a developer. There's also a few other things why TypeScript sucks. And Shy UI has some really good ones. He's a front-end developer. He's a very good developer. Let's see. He also wants to mention that TypeScript is not a type. It's not a script. He wants to be all technical about it, which is fine, right? However, now that Bun.js is a thing, that is unfortunately not true. Unfortunately, this is no longer true. But he is definitely a good listen and a good advocate for why you should not be using TypeScript if you can.
TypeScript, okay.
I'm gonna drink.
TypeScript, okay, even though they call it TypeScript with this word, script, it is not a script.
Nice. Oh.
Scripting languages are programming languages that don't require an explicit compilation step.
I wonder.
Wikipedia even will say scripting languages are usually interpreted at runtime rather than compiled.
Usually.
Okay, just so you understand the background of this, TypeScript is a programming language developed and maintained by Microsoft.
Microsoft.
Okay, the guy, one of the lead developers of TypeScript is Anders. He's the one that created C#. He's the lead architect of that.
Yep.
And he also developed some other languages like Turbo Pascal. An amazing language, actually. When I was a kid, I used to mess with this a lot. But you got to understand that TypeScript is essentially C#. I mean, looks very much and acts like C#. And
quacks like C#.
It compiles to JavaScript.
Yep.
So why am I even making a video on this? Why is this important? Because a lot of the newer developers will look at something like this and first of all, they'll think it's a scripting language where it's absolutely not a scripting language. It's a compiled language. And second, they'll see TypeScript as JavaScript with syntax for types. Okay, first of all, it's not JavaScript. It won't ever be like JavaScript because it is antithetical to JavaScript.
Indeed.
The philosophy of TypeScript is completely the opposite of everything that I love in JavaScript. And the reason is because they introduce probably the worst idea ever, in my opinion, and that is types.
Correct.
Okay? Types, I'm telling you right now, just as a UI developer or any kind of high-level developer, types is probably the worst idea ever. And I'll show you why. Now, it's important especially for the newer developers to understand the difference between a scripting language and a compiled language. Okay, it's very important. Like for example, let's say
the lines are unfortunately getting blurred there, my friend Shy UI. This is the type of, just to give a little background on him. He's the type of guy who will use var and not even touch let or const, right? The dude likes his host. He likes his hoisting. He likes his hoisted variables. Personally, I'm not a var fan. I don't like declaring variables local and then having them hoisted to the next scope. I like having things within the proper scope. It avoids confusion, right? It makes the code more readable. I know when things are in their scope, their little box, right? Then it's a lot better. It's a lot more easier to read. Even though we can, in JavaScript, functions are technically objects, right? Functions are technically objects, and you can run procedural code within functions, thus breaking pure functions with JavaScript. And you break the pure functionality by writing procedural code inside functions. But at that point you're writing subroutines, but whatever. A subroutine, and I kind of just borrowing that language from Fortran, ironically, because Fortran has something called subroutines, which is basically what a function with procedural code is anyway. So maybe it's more like a procedure or something like that. That might be a better name for it. I don't actually know Fortran, so I just found it kind of interesting. I find old technology kind of interesting, But yeah.
I do. Cat, by the way, just shows me the contents of this file. So cat hello.js. This is a scripting language. This is JavaScript. And the way I'll run it right now, I'll just go node hello.js, and then it returns the result. But see how it ran it directly, like it just ran this text file? Same with like, let's say a Python script. Okay?
Ooh, nice.
Python. I'll just go Python hello. See, Python is also a scripting language.
Clear console.
Meaning it is interpreted.
Or not.
Let's look at another one. Hello.sh. Just clear the screen.
Thank you.
This is a bash script. Okay? And the way I'll run it right now is just hello.sh.
Hello.
The terminal
Hello.
basically interprets it. Now, let's look at a compiled language. Okay? Obvious example would be C.
Obvious.
So, in order to run this, I can't run it like an interpreted language. I can't just go like run C hello.c or something. I can't. It doesn't work like that. First of all, you have to compile it. So I'll go gcc hello.c. Okay?
Yep.
That's the first step. Now, what this did is it created this file right here, a.out.
Also, my first language ever was C. My first language ever that I ever typed in. That was like a true programming language. I mean, you could say that CSS and HTML at the time were Turing complete, right? But you know what else is Turing complete? Magic the fucking Gathering. So, So, yeah, first language I ever learned in high school. And I struggled hard. I had to get help, outside help, all sorts of help, to do C. C is a lot for a beginner. People should start off with a typeless language like JavaScript. Like once I was introduced to JavaScript, immediately I was like, wow, I see the results of what I'm doing. I can see the console.log. Wow, I can actually do things. I can change elements on the page. I can manipulate the DOM. I can traverse it. I can pluck things out now. It's wonderful. You get to see the results of very quickly whenever you use JavaScript, and it's really nice. It's very encouraging, and it's very easy for someone to get into. It's not easy for a lot of people now, right? Because we live in a very distracted generation, right? Yes, very distracted. But it's a lot easier than starting off with C and being overwhelmed with like 8 different number types and like 5 different string types, and then like it's just so many data types to be overwhelmed with. And then after that, you're being first introduced to the concepts of what's a function, or how do I even write this? How do I even know? Does it ignore the space? Does it ignore spaces? Does it what do all these characters mean? Do I does it look at words? Is it looking for little individual characters? What? So like, oh, I made an error just because I put the equal sign, like I didn't put enough space between it or something like that. Yeah, stuff like that. Stupid stuff. Stupid beginner mistakes that people make is like, oh, I forgot the semicolon, or it's the wrong type. Beginner stuff like that. It should be more gradual, and it's just a lot easier for people to get into. But anyway.
Out. This is a binary file. And now when I run a.out, that's when I'll get the result.
Yep.
Now, similarly, when we have a TypeScript, I have this test.ts here. I can't just run it. I can't just go like node test.ts. It'll freak out. That's because it's written in a different language. Well, I have quite a lot of stuff in there, but
Nice.
in order to see the results of this, I have to compile it first. Okay, so TypeScript is not really a script. We should call it type compiled. Okay,
Type compile.
type compiled or whatever.
C
But
sharp.
it's a compiled language. So in order to run test.ts, I'd have to run it with its compiler.
Also no
which is
longer true, but
TSC,
yeah.
and then I go,
Let's skip ahead a little bit.
oh,
Because he has a little error here or something like that.
blah. There's a compilation error. Great. But see, this will now compile. And what it compiled to is JavaScript. It created this file, test.js. And now I can run this file. Okay?
And
So
now we
it's two
can.
steps. Now if I go test.js, it's going to run. But just so you know, I had to compile test.ts into JavaScript in order for it to work.
Yep.
Now, I've been coding professionally for many years now, and I can tell you without a doubt, like the biggest problem that faces all developers
Complexity.
is complexity.
Yep.
Okay, it's the number one problem. And I see this all the time. Okay? If you take nothing out of my videos except for this, just remember this one word, complexity. And my whole channel, my whole philosophy is avoid complexity.
Same. And this is just, whenever I was first doing programming and I was introduced, to my senior dev, or like my lead dev, also my boss at the time, because it was a small dev company, I learned a lot from this person. And the one thing I took away from her advice was to avoid complexity whenever you can. And this has been reiterated throughout college too. Like my C developer, he was very enthralled with the theoretical data concepts with C, but he had to teach such things in a very small amount of time. So he was trying really hard, but not everyone could understand what he was talking about whenever he gave his lectures, right? But one of the things he did give, as an older developer, was his advice: be slow to adopt new technology. Wait for the price to come down, then worry about it. And also, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should, was one of his big advices that he left us. And that complexity is the number one problem that we're all trying to solve, and we want to eliminate complexity as much as we can and have as performant code as much as we can. Unfortunately, we cannot necessarily have both all the time, but we do try. And not everyone has the right answer immediately, right? So, like the bros at Facebook, right, who made the React, and then you have to do all this crazy compilation steps just to get it to work. Shouldn't have to be that way. And everyone was getting all disillusioned because, oh, web development's so complicated now. Yeah, it's complicated because people made it complicated. You don't have to make things complicated. You just have to get things done. And that's what being business is all about. Even though businesses say they're all about getting features out, they pick the worst technologies. One of them being React, and then there's such a high demand for it because there's so many have been fooled into it to start supporting that architecture, and so many people are willing to do it that it pays really well, because there's just so much work to do for that piece of crap that is running everywhere. So, and that's just the reality of it. But you should always avoid complexity in your own projects when you can. Whenever you're applying for jobs, you take the piece of crap and you polish it as best as you can. That's what you do. You know, that's what you do. And then you tell the boss man, yes, I love that technology. And then you do it because you need money. So.
Okay. Now, the two main things that cause complexity, number one is too much syntax.
Yep.
And number two, unnecessary processes.
Also true.
Now, back to the coding example. TypeScript, to me anyway, is essentially the definition of complexity. Everything that I don't like in coding, I mean, with all due respect, is inside this language.
We have our types there, and you don't even need to declare types, you know. Like, oh, does it have to be a number? Does it have to be a string? Most of it's going to be a string anyway. Unless you're doing, like, math with, you know, the argument. Let's say, you know, let's just analyze this code here a little bit. Let's say code is number, name is string, right? What is the code? What is the code? Why does it need to be? Are you going to do any sort of math on that code? No? Oh, well, then it should probably be a string, right? Now, if you're not going to do any math on that string, right? Why even if all your data is strings, you know, why bother doing this? Why bother doing any of this? This is all crap. You don't need to define this. You don't need any of this. You don't need the type annotations. You don't need any of this. You know, he's going to demonstrate this.
Now, some people might like this language. You know, it's a personal thing, as I told you in many of my other videos. So I'm not going to say that, you know, objectively speaking, this is the worst thing ever. It's to me, it's the worst. And the reason is because they're adding so much unnecessary crap.
I know.
Like, do I care that this is a number? Do I have to spell it out for the computer that this is a number and this is a string? And you know, I'm returning a string here. Who cares?
Exactly.
You know, like, or this method accepts only a type of employee, like only classes or only objects that were defined as employee. That's what this method accepts. Who cares? I'm wasting my time.
Yep.
You know, I don't want any. See, look at all this stuff. X is. I don't want. Any.
And the retort to that is like, well, you'll waste time later with your tech debt. It's like, well, not if you build it right. It's going to be the person after you. Blah 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 blah. You should think about other people. Blah blah blah. Well, yeah. Well, then they're just bad at it, and that sucks. You know, and there's plenty of bad TypeScript projects too. Like there's like just the fact that I have to use a union type for like you know, like what do you call? I don't want to give a name to that data because that would imply, you know, things, and that might make my previous employer angry. But anyway, if you know what the types are, you know, and you know what to expect, and a lot of times you do, you know, and if there's an exception, there's an exception, you know, whatever. But in most cases, if you don't have the user changing it, or you know what the API is going to return each time, you know, and you don't really have to worry about it so much. I mean, you can write a case for like, oh, you could say without TypeScript, you could do this. If type of is not number or string, right? You can say, well, then return error, blah, 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 handle the error, blah, 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 don't crash, please. You know, if you really want to do that, that's how you would do it without TypeScript. You would do something, hold on, let me show you. I'm going to do this. Okay, let's back down. Right, here, let me show you. If you're really concerned about it and you don't have TypeScript, you know, and you really want to know what that type is, say if, oh wait, that's not console, excuse me. Let's say here, Jesus, can I say clear? Can I say clear? Does this work? Thank you. Cool. So let's say console.log. I'm going to ignore the errors for a second. Type. Jesus. Maybe, okay, fine. Maybe I'll just open a new tab. Fine. Okay. Fine. There we go. Okay, console.log. This is a static site. This shouldn't have any crazy API calls. Thank you. Much better. Okay, console.log, and you use this keyword right here, type of object, right? You just say type it, and then you can say things like if, you know, type of, you know, equals, you know, or you could just say strictly equals even if you're into that. You don't usually need to. Object. You can usually get away with doing this most of the time, unless you're really checking types and you like you've built a type checker and you need to check types, then you would use equals. But in most cases, you don't need to do that. And you could even say if it's not the type of, that's even better. You know, if you check for the not case, you're going to get a lot. So like say accept everything except any type like this. You know, you always check the not case first whenever you're programming. Most cases, you know, you'll be able to do that in your logic, but some cases it doesn't require it. But it's always good to see if you can. It allows you to shorten up code, and it eliminates, you know, some dead space in there as well. It's just a good habit to get into. It helps you write terse code. Trust me, bro. I've done it before. So let's see. Object, you can say that. Type of object equals object, and then you can run code here, else return error. Else return error. Yeah. If you really want to do type checking, you can do it like that. You don't need TypeScript to do that for you, you know. Yeah. Well, what if I have to do the like properties? Someone said object properties. Like you have to do object properties. Well, then you say type of, and then you say obj, right? Dot prop, and then you check for that. Essentially, that's what I've been doing in my backend application. So like, and in fact, I don't even write it like that. Like for my little pseudo ORM, right? My little translation layer from, you know, the API, my little GraphQL API that I made for MongoDB, or Mongoose rather, was like, oh yeah, let's say this query is query type is update, and then oil filter is set to true. Right? So then when I look at the logic, let's just put this, let's just go ahead and define this right now. Let's go ahead and define this right now. Why not? Let OOP equal that. Missing after property list. Okay, whatever. Fine. How about that? Does that work? Okay. Cat OOP. Oh, sorry. That's shellcode. console dot log OOP. There we go. We have our object, right? So if OOP, right, dot oil filter console.log, and we'll say run the oil filter query. There you go, just like that. You know, you could do stuff like that. Very easy, very easy. I love JavaScript. Anyway, let's get back to Shy UI at hand, right here. Oh yeah, you probably couldn't see that. I just realized that I just did that like way over there, and I realized my body is standing. Oh wow, I guess you could see that because like my body's standing over here. I don't know why my body's standing over here. I shouldn't be blocking the screen. Silly me. But yeah. Okay, here we go.
Any of this stuff. Okay? Get rid of it all.
Yep.
It's wasting everybody's time. Well, it's wasting my time, I mean.
It is wasting everybody's time.
Actually, let me start from the beginning.
Can confirm.
Let's say this message string, right? Now, let's say I gave it a number instead of a string. Guess what we get? We get this thing called a compilation error.
Whoa.
Type number is not assignable to type string. It's like, who cares? Like, just do what I want you to do. Like, I don't need you to start explaining stuff to me.
Exactly.
Like, okay, so now I'd go like this, and now it would work. It's just a complete waste of time.
But what if
Now,
the type changes?
Number two thing that I said about complexity is just too many processes. That is also a problem. In addition to just bloated syntax and too much syntax, again, try to reduce the syntax to as little as possible.
Agreed.
Okay? Whatever you can achieve with the smallest amount of code, that's optimal. Okay, it's kind of like a math equation. You want the smallest amount of stuff in there. It's all about reduction. And the second thing, as I just said, is too many processes. Like, for example, test.ts, right? Now I have this whole thing where I need to compile it.
Yep.
I need to compile it. I have to go through this process. And if maybe I had like an error or something, you know, maybe I like you saw earlier, I had this as a number, but it was a string, so it didn't like that. Now I have to deal with a compilation error.
Yeah.
Like, give me a break.
I know.
Instead, put it as a string, whatever. But I'm just saying, now we have the process of a build. Okay, now I have to build this thing. Like, it even matters. Okay? I want the least amount of processes. Like, look at this Python program. I just go like Python hello.py. I'm done. Like, it already ran this text file.
Yep.
It doesn't. I don't have like two steps. I don't have to go from like text file to compiled file and then run the. It's too many processes. The least amount of processes that you have, the better.
Yep.
So yeah, don't call this a script. Okay, it's not Typescript. It's type compiled. Okay, it does, and it's essentially C# trying to compile itself to JavaScript. So just stop it. Okay, it's not a script. It's type compiled.
Exactly. Stop using TypeScript. Just use JavaScript, bro. It's easy. It's a lot easier. You know, you can build things with it. You know, and you know, there's lots of other things you can do. Let me do that. Just use ESLint and ESLint. Actually, yeah, I haven't done any tutorials. I should do like IDE tutorials, right? I use Sublime Text, right? So like, I mean, if you've ever seen my streams before, I usually use Sublime Text, right? And it's a little bit janky to work on sometimes. I'll admit it, but you can do a lot of the same stuff that you can with VS Code, and it's a lot lighter too. And it'll always be pretty much lighter because you can customize it a lot more than VS Code. It's also not an Electron app too, so it's got that going for it. But also, there's another really new one, new text editor. It's based in Lua, and it's actually really nice. I really like it, and it's reasonably well supported. You could actually use it for real work if you wanted to. The only thing that's missing is like linters, I think. Like that was the only thing that I think was missing was linters, and I love using linters. Linters, they catch so many bugs, so many silly things. You know, like the hide and seek champions, the semicolons, the misshapen variable names that was accidentally capitalized, the user that was actually the user. You know, yeah, stuff like that. You know, really nice to have an ESLint for that thing. It's just really nice. It definitely will speed up your workflow, and it will definitely make coding a hell of a lot easier. And yeah. In fact, we should just do that. Maybe I like show you my setup or something here after a bit. Why else is TypeScript bad? They're closing TypeScript. I think I wrote an article about that, about TypeScript recently. Let's see here. Oh yeah, programming types and mindsets. This is also a really good article that I wanted to read, you know, earlier. It's a little bit. This is more about the. This is what I'm saying is like types are not necessarily bad, right? They're great in the proper context, right? Unfortunately, that context is not JavaScript, and it's not TypeScript either, or C# script. Whatever, or a C# compiler, or whatever. Whatever you want to call it. I'm talking about types. I'll preface this: you should always be thinking about types in your code, especially if it's JavaScript, which is weakly typed. You should know how JavaScript is going to coerce types when it has to, and that is very important whenever you're working with JavaScript. Very, very important. If you do not learn this, your crutch will be TypeScript, and you will be subject to the whims of crazy people like me and David Heinemer Manson. Okay, you need to know how JavaScript works on a very intimate level. As far as the type system goes, it's very important. Kind of like you need to know how types work in any other language, right? Very important. Besides learning how to debug it, learning how to debug a program is like I don't know. I'd say it's like 80% of the battle. You know, if you know how to debug a programming language, you basically know how to work with it. At least in my opinion, I think so. Because like if you can find the error very easily, with the tools available to you, then you're gonna solve the problem a lot faster. That's just how it works. If you have good tools to find the error, you're gonna solve it faster. It goes JavaScript, PHP, Python, Rust, doesn't matter. You have to know how to debug it. But yeah, and then types won't save you, and I've given a few examples why. The types won't save you from code written by me or even Amazon, AWS. Like I have a buddy, he was trying to make his little I think it's like a maid service app or something like that. Yeah, he was making a maid service app, and he was trying to get some data from AWS or something like that. And he found out the reason why his TypeScript was failing was because he didn't account for the types, for the the typelessness of the JavaScript API he was getting the data from. So he over-optimized, and it bit him in the butt. So whenever you're prototyping something new, you use a prototyping language. You use JavaScript, And then if you need types, then you can add optional types later. That's probably TypeScript's greatest strength. It's not the custom types. It's not it's the type primitives, right? That's where it really shines. And then the custom types are just trash. It's all trash. But the properties, it doesn't matter. You're taking you're making a new problem out of it. There's no need to make a data schema for your freaking code base. That's what a database is for, you silly person. My God. Okay. One of the longest running schisms in programming is that static versus dynamic typing. I've heard a million arguments from both sides throughout my entire career, but I've seen very few of them ever convinced anyone of anything, as rationalizations masquerading as reason rarely do in matters of faith. The writer will always justify the way of the elephant. Wise, very based. That's not to say there aren't people who've switched camps. In fact, such individuals usually shout the loudest rationalizations of all. It's true. Often with the charm of a livelong omnivore suddenly turning vegan or a traditional banker who caught a lucky ride on crypto. The shorter the faith, the brighter the flame. Personally, I'm unashamedly a dynamic typing kind of guy. That's why I love Ruby so much. It takes full advantage of dynamic typing to allow the poetic syntax that results in such beautiful code. To me, Ruby with explicit static typing would be like salad with a scoop of ice cream. They just don't go together. Yeah, I feel you, bro. I feel you. I'd also confess that having embraced the evangelical position for dynamic typing in the past, to the point of suffering from the one true proposition affliction, seeing the lack of enthusiasm for dynamic typing as a reflection of missing education experience or perhaps even competence. Oh, what folly. Look, like trying to convince an introvert that they really liked parties if they just loosen up a bit. That actually, it's really fun to be in crowded rooms for hours on end, shouting to communicate because that's about the vibe. They're about that vibe. How about that vibe, right? Yeah. These days, I've come to appreciate the magnificence of multiplicity. Programming would be an awful endeavor if we were all confined to the same paradigm. Human nature is too varied to accept such a constraint on creativity. Could you imagine if all visual art had to be rendered in the style of cubism or realism? Well, if all novels were written in short, direct flavor of Hemingway, would it bore it be all quickly? It would ruin the magic of programming. I wouldn't call it magic, buddy, but I wouldn't call it magic. That's the unique vision of art and engineering. A unique fusion of art and engineering. Yeah, I guess. But it took a while for me to come to these conclusions. I'm a recovering solutionist, so when I see folks cross their heart in disbelief that anyone anywhere might fancy JavaScript over TypeScript, I smile, and I remember the days when I'd recognize their zeal in the mirror. It's not to say all matters of programming approaches boil down to equal but different mindsets. There are limits to this relativism, but dynamic versus static typing is certainly within its confines. So too is the functional versus object-oriented programming. I'm definitely on the functional side of programming. You should avoid using objects whenever you can. Functions are a lot more composable by default. It's very simpler syntax, especially if you know how to use functions very well. Just, you can take a function, you can take a function as a parameter, especially first-class functions. Take a function as a parameter, you can return a function, you can return callbacks. You can do pretty much anything with them. Anything that object tries to do, like say you want to import like Java, for example. I learned this recently about Java and what lambdas were. It is the unholy marriage of OOP and functions. It sits in this really weird gray area from my perspective. It sits in this really weird gray area where you can implement a method from another, you can just implement that method directly into your Java class, right? And then, and it doesn't matter where it is. It could be in anywhere, I guess. So it gives you a lot of power, right? But you don't have to say implements. It's like shorthand or something. I won't say I fully understand it. I need to watch that video again. But it was a solution to a problem with inheritance in OOP. You have to explicitly inherit things or implement a trait or, implement some other superclass or inherit a superclass or something like that. Inherit, traits, implements, interfaces, all of them, like you compose these interfaces into something, this monster that does things for you, and then whatever you want, you compose it that way. And that's why people think it's very easy to compose, but the problem is you can't really see what's doing behind the scenes. You have to jump around. You have to, jump around several files just to get an understanding of what that is. And people would call that ravioli code. You should avoid doing that. And OOP programming basically encourages this behavior. You should recognize what you're dealing with and what programming languages are dealing with, data. And you should always recognize that. And you're telling data where to go, and you transform that data one way or the other, or you convert it from one thing to another, and that's just how it is. And functions manipulate data. Just makes sense, it makes a lot more sense. Once you realize that, the objects are just superfluous, they're just very superfluous, and they create this sort of paradigm, right? They create this unnecessary paradigm where you have to think in little components, but you don't necessarily have to do that. You can just think in functions because everything's data, right? You just think in functions, and then you can transform functions. You can compose functions as you want. You don't need to write implements X function. You don't need to, say has X trait or, have a super function for your functions. You don't need to do that. You just call the function or require the function. That's all you have to do. None of this crap, none of this extra crap, And that's why that's why I choose functional programming over anything. On top of that, state, management of state, right? Especially if you're working with pure functions like Haskell, right? you have to type something like in PHP, for example, you have to say private. You have to specify you have to specify in your classes, right, or your objects, right, whether it's a public what do you call method, right? If it's a function or property, yeah. If it's a public property, right, on your object, right, or a private property on your object. If it's not private, anything can mutate it. Why is mutation bad, right? Well, well, why is mutation bad? Well, let me tell you a little story. So, let's say you are a front-end developer and you have an application. You have a single-page application, right? And you have to keep track of some, I don't know, let's say you have data you're receiving from an API, and it's like, I don't know, jobs data or something like that. Like which companies are hiring or something like that, You know, let's just say it's like which companies are hired, you know, and you need to get all that data into your single page application somehow, and you need to keep track of changes over time, right? And it's a lot of data. You need to find a way to manage the state, and sometimes what can happen is if you don't manage the state of your SPA, right, you can get these problems where the server is updated but your front end doesn't, right? Or it does your server has new data, but you know the front end doesn't know about it yet, or there's a miscommunication, right? So you need something, a single source of truth that can communicate between the client and the server, right? Otherwise, you'll get these ugly bugs like, oh, and you know, the server's like, what kind of data is this? I don't have this. Or you'll see, you know, like logical errors that don't make sense, or data that's just bad and doesn't make sense because the data has already changed before someone on the client decided to change it. You know, if you're trying to write to that data, which I don't know why you do that, but let's just say it happens. You know, anyway, you need to have that synced up, right? How do you do that? Well, you have that state, and you have state that cannot be easily mutated. You know but if you want to mutate it and write to it, you have to take a copy of it, right? Mutate the copy, and then replace it. Why is that important? Well, because the time complexity. Let's just say you might have another function that edits that property later or earlier before the user is trying to edit, you know, that specific piece of data, right? And then what could happen is it would write the incorrect piece of data. If the data is mutated, it can lead to bugs, right? Where you don't expect. It can lead to logical errors, bad data, you know. Some things just do not need to be mutated, especially if you mutate the data on the client side and it doesn't match what's on the server, right? Then you'll refresh, and then suddenly you'll have the bug where nothing happened, right? Because you didn't save it to the database, or you tried to save it to the database, but your server just rejected it because it's like, I don't know what this value is, you know, stuff like that. That's a real example that I've had happen to me in real life, and the reason why we have state management machines, why we have state management in single page applications. You know, it's a very complex problem for a single page application that was solved by, you know, an object store that doesn't get mutated, right? This is a very complex problem that was solved by that. Anyway, and that's probably a very terrible explanation, right? But you know, that's about right. You don't want to. You need to have data. You need to have copies of the data and make sure that the state is, you know, up to date, right, and proper, and not lead to accidental, you know, rewrites or changes to the state. Mutations are bad, okay? Mutation of data is bad, okay? But sometimes mutation's okay, right? If you know that you do not need to keep the data for any other reason, you know, or you have a copy of the data, right? You know, if you have a copy of the data and then you don't care about it, then you can just mutate that and you can still retain the original data, right? Say you have to do some calculations, right? You know, And this was a problem I had in Svelte. What I was doing was I was trying to get some data from the server. It was a huge ass object, right? And I was trying to make changes to this object, but the problem was it was changing the object itself, and it wasn't changing the copy. So when I changed the object itself, it would lead to these. It wasn't necessarily an error, but it would lead to these problems where I would be sending huge amounts of data to the server, and I'd have to write a lot of code to handle it. So what I did was I wrote a diffing function between two objects, right? And maybe this is very. I basically re-implemented Vue.js's watcher. Vue.js has this little function called a watch function. I basically implemented that in Svelte. So, and then sent that to the server. But yeah, and that saved a lot of processing time. It also prevented any potential errors. That could have been by only sending the necessary data to the server, because there could have been a situation where a person could have had 100 different changes that needed to be changed and saved to the server, and that would have been insane. So we shouldn't be sending thousands of rows of data to the server if we don't need to. And that was the reason why I did that. It's a very specific example and a very general example and a very poor example. Maybe if I could show my code, I could step through it. But yeah. Anyway, static typing is okay for servers. I just prefer being able to type things simply and have less complexity in my code. It's easier to read, honestly. Some programmers are like, well, what's the type? It doesn't matter what the type is. It's probably a string, okay? If you see my code, and it's not doing any sort of calculations on it, like 1 plus 2 or x plus 5, it's probably a string, okay? It's not a varchar. It's not a car list. It's not an integer 8. It's not an integer 32. It's a string. It's a string. Okay, chill out. Okay, just calm down. Let the interpreter interpret the type, and get familiar with the interpreter, and just let it happen. Okay. I know it gives you anxiety, but just let it happen. Just let it happen. It's okay. All right. What time is it? What does our time look like today? Let's say it's 6:50. Was it almost 7? Right? What should we do? Talk about Bun. Take a look at Bun, maybe. We can take a look at Bun. What else could we do? I don't want to look at that for a second. Works in my machine. Right. Yeah. See how many composites we got up here. I'm sure everyone has figured out that I am a tech VTuber, and yeah, I thought about actually doing some work, because I said I was going to work on my my app, but I never did, But also, I know what happened. Oh gosh, okay, I know what I'm gonna do. So, how many of you people there are concerned about the depth of your voice, the vocal pitch of your voice, right? Well, have I got the website for you that I did not make myself. All right, yeah. Oh, look at all those type logos that I almost put on my stream, but I forgot to, because now it's just doesn't have the crazy TypeScript. I was going to fix it, but then I forgot about it. I was like, oh man, I gotta put in my eyes, I gotta get all this material ready, and then I forgot. I'm sorry. And then when I posted the link, yeah. So what's going to happen is hopefully people will watch this, and hopefully people will have some good information as a result. Maybe some of my tech rants were a little too long, and I understand that. That's okay. Because I've never actually worked for a specific company myself. I've always worked a lot of contract jobs, and that's just kind of what the reality was for me. After I've gotten used to so many contracts, I just kind of didn't stop, because it was a lot easier to get a contract job than it was to, actually apply for a job. and the money was decent. I was able to live off of it for a while. And now I'm just trying to diversify. Just trying to diversify things. Unfortunately, this isn't probably the time to be diversifying. This is probably the time to be coding. But let's see. It's called voicecell.org. Your voice says a lot about you. If anyone's taking use tool, I'm not actually sure if this is going to work, but we're gonna give it a try. I'm gonna have to see my mic is like kind of stuck to my how do you say? I don't think it's gonna be able to pick up my mic, but we're gonna try it anyway. Begin the test. Let's allow it. Hello, how are you? Please leave a message after the tone. How are you doing? And I'm just gonna... Oh wow, I'm a certified voice cell. Oh, 144 hertz. Oh no. Oh no. Does it sound like 144 hertz to you? Really? Really? I don't think so. What I think is happening here, what he's doing is he's taking the median value of all of this, right? And yeah. There's obviously some bugs with this. It was made by Verz and Lucas' podcast team to try and understand whether the change in viewership was due to Lucas's voice deepening after finishing puberty or some other factor. What is a voice cell? His voice cell is someone with a squeaky, unesthetic high voice. I don't know. What should I do if my voice registers above 130 hertz? Am I destined to die alone? Yes. Unless you buy the Yayo supplements. That's exactly what I expect from you. Is this a voice frequency? Voice frequency or voice band is a range of audio frequencies used for the transmission of speech. This is an example of speaks, an audio compression format designed for the reproduction of human speech. I'm sorry, it's just like the opening of Mumble. I can't resist. Let me see if I can do it better. This is an example of speaks, an audio compression format designed for the human reproduction of human speech. The reproduction of human speech. It can't type in now. Fuck. What is a chat? Really cool guy. He's a really cool dude. Examples. Brock Sampson from Venture Bros. Very good example. Yeah, your tab just it just crashed. Tab just crashed. Sad. Restore. Do it. Make it so. Wow. Let's try it again. That's interesting that it crashed. I don't know why it would crash. Maybe it was secretly recording us and we didn't know it. Let's give it another. Hello? Please leave a message after the tone. Okay. So, yeah. You waiting for high quality data. It's interesting because I was actually I got banned from this Discord, but before this this dude I was talking to, he was also a VTuber. It's like Kimawari. He also took this test, right? And he also got about 132, and I didn't believe him when he said it's the compressor function on his mic, which is interesting. Because actually I've got that too. I actually got like anywhere from like my first result was actually like 82, and I just kind of poked fun at him. Was like, oh. Maybe it's because you're not trying hard enough. Maybe it's because you didn't lower your voice enough. But obviously, what I think would help this thing, and I actually talked to the guy who made this. He says it's an imperfect science, and that his ways of actually measuring this are actually quite rudimentary, right? Quite rudimentary. He's taking the median, which is not very good, and he's measuring a whole bunch of frequencies, right? And not. I don't think he's measuring. He's taking all the frequencies and not necessarily all the human frequencies, because human voices have many frequencies that are layered on upon each other, right? Called overtones, right? Overtones, So like a guitar, a voice, they have overtones, which generate the unique characteristic of the sound. It's like how when you modulate a sine wave, it makes the characteristic synth that you're looking for, like or the wah 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 wah, that you're looking for, right? It's that it's the waves upon the waves, the overtones that really characterize the voice. And what really needs to be happen is the voice input needs to be he needs to output a spectral graph, right? And I think that would be really nice. And I think doing something in GraphJS would be kind of cool. And what I want to do is there's a library within this code here, right? If we take a closer look, right? If we take a closer look, let's just go ahead and I'm just going to make sure that my mic is on, right? At least it does seem to be picking things up. Good, 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 good. So let's take a closer look at this, right? Inspect, right? We'll do a console, not enough signal. Inspector, a function, and I want to. I know there's a way to take a look at the let's go debugger index. See if I can move this over here. And we have this. All right, code is taken with modifications from Ellis as noted above. And note autocorrelate comes from here. Pitch detect pull. So yeah, it's a pitch detector. So he's not writing this code himself, but he's editing it. So let's just go ahead and copy this to the clipboard, right? I wonder if we could actually. Do you think ChatGPT could actually see all this? So I'm gonna go ahead and tab over, right? I'm gonna put this in here. I'm gonna have ChatGPT analyze it for funsies. Let's see if it can actually do this. Because I'm actually kind of curious to see what will happen. Okay. I don't know if it'll let me put in 300 characters, but we'll see. We'll see. Copy to clipboard. Share GPT. Because some of this code I can't figure out what it does. Can you explain this code to me? Wow, that's fast. Here we go. The code appears to be a JavaScript program that utilizes the Web Audio API to perform pitch detecting analysis of the audio signal from the microphone input. It also includes elements related to visualizing the audio data in a graphical format. Let's break down the code section by section. License and attribution comments, initialization, and variables. It defines several variables to control the behavior of the program, such as is recording, canvas-related variables, canvas context, width, height. It's really cool. It initializes some variables related to audio processing, such like sampled freaks, audio context, and analyzer. Event listener for record button. It sets up an event listener on the HTML button with the ID record. When the button is clicked, mouse down event, it calls the init function, which starts the audio recording and analysis. Hello, watch. Initialization function, init. This function is called when the record button is clicked. It sets the is recording flag to true, initializes the empty array to sampled frequencies, and updates the button's text. It requests access to the microphone using the Get User Media API and sets up the audio processing pipeline, connecting the microphone input to the analyzer node. If the microphone access is denied, it displays an alert. Cool. Visualization functions. I want to see the pitch detection. Yeah, show me this one. Because the visualization is actually kind of cool. Let's see. Both functions use the Web Audio API's analyzer node to obtain audio data and update the visual elements on the canvas. Very cool. This function performs pitch detection by autocorrelating the audio data. It first checks if the input audio has sufficient signal strength based on the root mean square RMS threshold. It then identifies a range in the audio buffer where the values are below a certain threshold. Okay. Next, it calculates the autocorrelation of the selected portion of the buffer. The function finds the peak in the autocorrelation data to estimate the pitch frequency in hertz. Finds the peak of the autocorrelation data to estimate the pitch frequency. It applies a parabolic interpolation to refine the pitch estimate. Finally, it returns the calculated pitch frequency. And it was said that this gives about a 93% accuracy according to the GitHub repo. So let's see. The algorithm used right now is a 30% error rate, and this one gives a 3.7, tested over 1,500 sample database of 4 instruments that I've collected from the web. I kind of want to see the instruments that this guy has actually collected from the web, honestly. And one thing I'd like to use this for, since it does detect pitch, is I'd like to create like a tuner app, right? And we could like have a tuner app, right? We could throw it on a phone, and then we could make this into like a, you could make it into like an app, a voice cell training app. That'd actually be a good idea, you know. It'd be kind of fun. It'd be kind of fun. Another stupid idea to try. So, but yeah, it's always good to look into things, you know. Yin tuner, file exchange. What we got? The Yin algorithm, considered the best publicly available method, cannot write entirely on MATLAB code, as demanding routines are implemented in C. Okay. I want to see, why did he link that? He managed to translate this into a web app. Okay, okay. So, I don't see anything related to the instruments that he tested. Maybe we can ask him a question. You know, maybe we can ask him a question, right? Ask him what instruments he's used to test this with, so we can get an idea of how he tested this. Let's see. Let's go ahead and do control find instruments. Let's try voice. Okay. Guess not. So we don't know exactly what voices he's done. Question. What sort of instruments did you use to test this? All right, now we'll just wait and maybe we'll get a response, and I'll let you guys know if he actually responds. But yeah, this is something that I've been just kind of interested in ever since Twitter has kind of been blowing up with this crazy voice cell app, you know. Yeah, the guy's kind of cool, you know. But yeah, I know. I'm gonna be alone forever. My voice is just so high. Let's actually take this. Let's actually see what this sounds like, right? What does 132 hertz sound like? Let's see, 132 hertz sine wave tone. 132 hertz sine wave tone, amplitude 1. This is what 132 hertz sounds like. Okay. I guess, yeah, that would be the median tone. Yeah, I do sometimes have a high talking pitch, which is fine, right? But you know, my morning voice doesn't sound like that. So yeah, that's what 132 hertz sounds like. Cool. Let's see if we can get a better score. Can we get a better score? Well, hey there. How's it going? I'll run to you and I'll see you later, I think. What? It's even worse. Let's see. 255 hertz. Let's take a look. What's that? What's that sound like? 255 hertz. Sine wave frequency. I can get pretty up there. Let's see, 255. It would be above this.
3, 2.
Fuck you.
1.
Well, hey there. See, that's not 210 hertz. That voice was clearly not 210 hertz. I'm gonna listen to this VOD and I'm gonna like embarrass myself. But clearly there's something wrong with the implementation here. Is the median of my voice clearly 210 hertz right now? Doubt. In fact, it was like 50 hertz over, right? Not even close. So, not even close to a median. Not even relatively close. So yeah, there's obviously some bugs with this software. Don't feel bad if you're told you're so sorry in your voice cell and you have no hope and you should just, you know, play video games and do nothing. Or stream like me and do nothing and be funny. You know, just do that. At least you'll be entertaining. What was it? The old Red and Green Show, if anyone's seen it. She doesn't find you handsome. At least she'll find you funny or handy. No, was it handy or funny? It was handy. But yeah. Interesting website. Kind of a nice little curiosity. Yeah. Okay, let's go find some music. And I'm going to go ahead and start coding, and we'll actually do some actual code fixes, I think. All right, and I'll try to explain my thinking. And yeah, we'll call it that. And we'll do that for the next hour. And if anyone wants to, I don't know, maybe we could look at memes. Could we look at memes? But yeah, let's go find some music. Recently been getting back into 09 stuff because of watching like Pippa like stream what's it called? Class of 09. So people are truly assholes, you know. It's like just without trying. It's I don't know. But like I don't know, just playing that game is just kind of like wow. I couldn't even imagine what it'd be like to live in such a thing. Oh, what's this? Why do you hate TypeScript? Curious. I wrote a nice little comment there. Prototyping harder, more annoying, plenty productive without it. What else did I say? Did I cover all this? I'm pretty sure I covered all this. C-style cryptic error codes, lol. The only reason it's bearable. It's a huge advantage, not a huge advantage to TypeScript, unnecessarily complicating the project. Yep, covered all that. So. Cool. Let's see here. Where can I find some good music? How about this? Let's go synthwave. I really like this one. How's that playing? Yeah, I think that's okay. Maybe we'll turn it down to like -40. That'll be good. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and set up a few things. All right. Let's go ahead and get our terminal over here. Get a terminal up. We're gonna go ahead and work on the Smash Your Pass website. We're gonna go ahead and add the ability to change your mind. Yeah. All right, that works. Go ahead and spread my gum out. Bum 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 ba-dum, ba-doo. Wow, that's actually quite huge. I wish I could change this. Yeah, there we go. Change the size. Okay, that works. Yep. We'll have that. Okay, we're gonna need like 2 of them. I'm just gonna run the server on another one because I don't really want to show what I'm running. So I'm gonna go ahead and open another terminal. CD Vite project, and we're gonna do a git pull just in case. Already up to date. All right. Git pull. Oh wait, no. Just to show you what I did. We're already up to date. Good stuff. Okay. And we're going to start the server. I'm going to start in another terminal. So, node server.js. Actually, we should probably say Vite. So let me just check something here. I'm going to do nano server.js. Scroll to the bottom. And we should have our app in our port. And I do think the, what's it called? Good. Okay, we're good. Now we can run the server. And I'm going to cat package.json. And that's going to be Vite, I guess. I think that's Vite. Yeah, Vite. Excuse me, what? What are you talking about? Do I need to do npmi? Interesting. Oh, I remember this bug. Oh, okay. I remember this. Here we go. Now, I'm gonna force this. Usually you should not do this. I wonder if we could do legacy pure depths. That does seem like a good idea. I'm gonna try that and see what happens. Okay, okay. It works. Now we gotta, let's see, Vite. npm run Vite. Or run dev. Okay. Let's go ahead and control click. And let me just check something here. Check console. Okay. Type error when attempting to fetch resource. Got it. Okay. So I'll say node server.js on my other terminal. And that should fix everything, I think. Let's refresh and see what happens. Good. We still have a type error. Interesting. Okay, let's try localhost 3000. No? Oh, the server died. Okay. Interesting. Cannot preview properties of undefined meaning length. Okay. Interesting. The URI parameter to open URI must be a string, got undefined. Okay. Okay, I think I see what's going on here. Yeah, I see what's going on here. We didn't set up an env file. And I forget what it's called, honestly. Ooh. Let me check. Oh man, I accidentally closed it out. Okay. Don't care. What else do we got? So it is Mongo URL. Good. What did I call it? I forgot. Okay. Where am I? Good. We're gonna save that for now. And I'm gonna say mongosh. show databases. And our database is testq. So, at least I think it is. I don't think I've run it here before. Let's make another one. Let's call it use what should we call it? BNHA. Now we'll define that in our environment file. And I'll say quit. Oh yeah, we gotta get Mongo URI, that's right. So let's see if I can find an example Mongo URI. Oh yeah, hold on. Okay. Is that? Can't tell. Ooh, I got lost. Okay. Is it even showing anything? I can't tell. This the terminal covers it. There we go. That's better. Ask it that. Let's see. I think it's localhost 27017 / my database. That should be it. I'll go back here and make sure you can see what I'm doing. And we'll put a little localhost. My back hurts, holy crap. And that should be BNHA, I think. Now let's give it a try. On the server end anyway. Node server.js. And we'll start, say npm run dev. Good. And let's try this first. It's because I forgot. And let's check. What do we got here? Component has mounted. Looks like everything's working. That's good. That's good. Looks like it served the page up, no problems. Let's all right. I'm feeling. Oh, okay. Attempting to fetch resource didn't work. Okay. You failed to attempt fetch resources. All right. Why is that? Okay. Let's try localhost 3000. It's not serving on 3000. I thought I solved this problem. What? So every time I visit localhost 3000, I get a connection refused. Oh, okay. I got connection refused. Okay, okay, cool. All right, all right. So I typed in the wrong string, I guess. Okay, cool. That's fine. That's fine. MongoDB locally. Localhost. Here we go. In Windows. In Windows. Come on, MongoDB. Tell me what's up. Tell me what's up. And they're not telling me. Why can I never find what I'm looking for? Why? Can someone please tell me why I cannot find what I'm looking for? We know bash. Should be localhost 27017, I think. Resources. Let's try resources. Server, develop applications, analyze, still like MongoDB baskets, create collection. Yeah, I'm not worried about querying, I'm worried about connecting. Introduction, installing, getting started. Nothing. Okay, cool. That's MongoDB Compass. I'm not using Compass. Let's see if it can give me a better answer. I want to connect on localhost with a database called BNHA. Fine. Works for me. I'll take that. I'll take that. And if it doesn't work, I'm gonna be pissed. Okay, let's see. Nano.env. Let's say npm dev. Fire up the server again. Port 3000. And we have another error. Because that's not supposed to happen. Component has mounted. Let's do a refresh. See, scrape, attempted to scrape. What did we get? Okay, looks like it's trying to fetch. And ran into a problem. Cache.length not equaling 0 because there is no length. Operation characters fine. Buffering timed out after 10,000 milliseconds. Okay. Wonder why. Node.js version 18.16. Take a look at my server.js. Maybe it's because I compiled with the older ones. That might be it. That might be it. I'm also very tired. I didn't sleep very well last night. I'm gonna move that over. Okay. Oh wow, that actually shows up. What the fuck? Cool. Cool, I guess, but also scary. That should not show up like that. Yeah, okay. Fire up the code editor. There we go. Now you can see what I'm doing. Okay. So, error is type error, cannot read properties of undefined reading length. We had an interesting mongoose error. Operation characters.find, buffering timed out after 10,000 milliseconds. Well, after 10,000 milliseconds, it should return an array, so it can do that check, which is interesting. So it times out after a whole bunch of milliseconds, then yeah. Let's go to our middleware. Wait, why do I have migrations? Oh, here we go. We'll go to our database. Characters.find. And we don't really return anything. Return await character.find if data, else return. I shouldn't have to specify this because earlier it would just return empty. So maybe that will do something. And then if it's an empty one, then it should be fine. So let's fire up that server again and try again. I have a similar problem. Looks like it's getting, which is good. Let's take a look at what the server's doing. Nothing's happening at the moment. Refresh. And it's trying to scrape. It is fetching. And it didn't set that for some reason. I don't know why. Very interesting. Maybe we should have put a try catch on it. That might help. We should have put a try catch on it. So, let's see, because we should have try catch on this. So, because all the other ones are using like this syntax anyway. So we say return await character find dot. Let's say c dot then maybe, or c dot catch. Can I do dot catch? And I want a console.log the error. That way we can get better better error handling. That might help. We'll give that a try. But I also use Node Server version 16, which probably doesn't help, so. Why is it running version 18 though? That's what I want to know. Why is it running 18? Did I originally have it on 18? Okay. We got an OK. Let's check the network. We're still waiting for a response. It's listening. The server is listening on 3000. We're on 3000. Let's do a. Okay, yeah, sent that. Okay, it is fetching. It's going to time out. Add timeout. Undefined from cache. We know it might be easier just to say if cache equals that or undefined. So like, because undefined can be tried as false. So let's do that. That might be easier solution. Rather than trying to, you know, handle that error. Because that's not what's crashing the server. What's crashing the server is the literal type error. So, yeah. Okay. Where am I at? Where am I at? There I am. If cache, you could probably simplify that to if no cache, but yeah, honestly, if no cache, if there's no cache, then don't worry about it. But would cache be false if a cache.length is 0 or if cache is undefined? That probably works. That should cover all our cases. Because usually Mongoose will return an empty array. That's what I was expecting, but I guess it didn't return one this time. So we'll add that. Undefined should, be evaluated as false, so because it is a falsy value. Okay, let's check console. What is mounted? We made a GET request for scrape, and the server hasn't registered that for some reason. Try again. It also could be that we should be using the Vite server, because Vite and Express have a weird, very interesting interaction that I don't understand. It's trying to load from cache. What? Whoa, did it actually do that? Stale, false, heartbeat frequency, code undefined. That's interesting. Got a connection refused. Very interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't get... Yeah, that was weird. Let's try something different. Let's try 5173. Maybe that's how we're supposed to do it. I mean, that looks better, but what I'm worried about is over here. Okay, we restarted. We've done the scrape. All right, now it's currently fetching from MongoDB. There's a timeout. Undefined from cache. Loading from cache. It should not be loading from cache. So if I do this, yeah, then we have a problem. Yeah, it should not be loading from cache. If cache is false, cache does not equal undefined. If cache. I probably meant to say if cache, honestly. So let's cut that, do that. Let's refresh. See what we got. Yeah. How are we doing? Let's do another refresh to make sure it receives that. It's fetching from the DB. That's good. Okay, so if cache does not equal undefined, I guess. Fine. Fine. We'll check for undefined. Very well. Okay, gotta do that. Gotta restart the server. Okay, cool. Should do it. And it hasn't received anything yet, so we'll do another refresh just in case. I don't know why it does that for the Vite Express. I'm using Vite Express, so I could be just using it wrong. If cache does not equal undefined, then cache.length. Wow, that's really annoying. I think what I did earlier to solve this problem was put in some data and then it would return something. That's what I did earlier. But I don't want to do that. I really want to fix this problem because this is a problem, honestly. Maybe if we say if cache.length does not equal undefined, maybe that'll do something. Maybe that will work, and it won't complain. I hope so. Okay. So let's go ahead and restart the server and try once more. Server hasn't picked up on it. Try again. We're fetching from the database. We should get a timeout eventually here in the next 10 seconds. Same problem. It just does not like reading properties of undefined. Maybe has own prop is what we got to do. Has own prop. Has own property, JS. That's what we need. Or MDN says has own. Yeah, that's a good one. Let's try that. That'll work. Okay. I think the problem is, yeah. Actually, yeah, it should work. Cache and length. And we should say and. Or we could say is array. Right? Maybe we could do that. Obviously, I'm not solving the root of the problem here, which is the fact that I'm starting with an empty database and I'm relying on data to be in the database. So I'm trying to account for there being no data in the database. So it's like a first boot up, right? Which is kind of embarrassing, honestly. But it is an interesting problem that I think I need to solve, data-wise. Ow. Is that something wrong with my syntax? There we go. That's better. Let's fire up that server again, give it another try. Okay, it's mounted. Faviccon's good. It's listening. Let's give it another chance. It's fetching. And what do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Can I confine undefined or no? Yeah, we should have used type of. Okay. Right. And this is where type of makes sense. All right. I'm programming really stupid today, which is fine. I am pretty tired. Type of cache equals array. Maybe that will do it. So many specificities that I've forgotten, but we learn along the way by making mistakes, right? All right. Fresh, start the server up, give it another one so it gets the request for some strange reason. All right, it's fetching from the MongoDB database again. Interesting. What was that? Went to page. There it goes. Hell yeah, it works. It works. That was it. See? Type of works. Heck yeah, heck yeah. I could just show you what I'm seeing. We have a large list of people. All right, and we've retrieved some inner text and text content. All this is saved to data.json for some strange reason, which is cool, I guess. And we have our object response right here. Cool. Cool. What are we looking at? We got Nezu. We have text content, character link. Nice. Very nice. What else do we have? And we have a URL. Cool. Cool, cool. Very nice. Very nice. Awesome. Alrighty. So just to show you that, it's working. Right. Let me just adjust the OBS. See, we have all this lovely data right here. Check it out. All this lovely data. Finally, that's exactly what I want to see. So, unfortunately, because for the interest of time, we're gonna have to limit the options to 10. Yeah, we're gonna limit the options to 10. So, let's go do that. Into code. So we're gonna go to app.svelte. And one thing I've noticed in the one of the bugs I've noticed is that we're shuffling before we shuffle the results before we do the pruning of the data, which is actually something we should have done. We should shuffle the results last so we have a consistent amount. We have a consistent what do you say? How do you say data? Consistent data to work with. It's very important. And I had some data consistency issues on the current site, so we're going to fix that here in a second. So we're looking at results bag, character data array. It's going to shuffle the results bag, but we don't want to do that just yet. So let's get rid of that. So we're going to instead we're going to say, oh, hello. Hey, this is SN1P3. Oh, I think I remember you. Hello, Poon God 1994. How are you doing? I'm surprised to see you on my stream. How you been? How you been? We're doing some coding right now. We were talking about TypeScript for a little. You came on the tech stream. The tech stream. Ugh. Yeah. Unfortunately, the latencies had to be increased because YouTube is I don't know. It seems to be having some issues lately with latency. Maybe there's a lot of people streaming today or something. Yeah. All right. So yeah, we don't want to shuffle that just yet. We want to keep our data consistent. So we do that, and then we'll shuffle the filtered array, right? Because this shuffle mutates our data, so, and we want to maintain the order after we've done the filtering. And then another thing we want to do, another thing that was mentioned to me was that some of the results have repeats in the names, and we should remove keywords like arrested or formerly or something like that, because that will give spoilers or something. And some people might not know that, you know, so remove common names like arrested. What else do we have to look for? Let's go take a look at that website so we can get an idea of what exactly we're looking for. All right. And I'll just show you the site I've been scraping from, right? So we'll go wikia. Let's see. Let's just search Boku no Hero Academia characters. Just give that a little bit. But yeah, thanks for coming to the stream, Poon God. It's really cool to see you here. Appreciate it, you know. Should come on like a Thursday when we do like gaming nights or something. You know, it would be cool to do some pawn game again, you know, like on Thursday. That might be a fun thing to do. Be kind of weird, be kind of awkward and weird, but that'd be kind of funny. Be kind of funny. VTuber playing an old outdated game, which is kind of my thing. I play outdated games, so. That would actually kind of work, wouldn't it? Unfortunately, you can't play. Why can't you play now? Anyway, so here's what we're looking at. Things we could add to the data, right? We need to figure out how to not get these longer titles here, like deceased and whatnot. We just need the titles, like the bold titles, right? And if we look carefully in our data, right? My uncle watches television on his Wi-Fi. It will make it slower. Ah, yeah. That makes sense. That does make sense. But yeah. Seat numbers. Nobody cares about that. Nobody cares about seat numbers. What's all this stuff? But yeah. So we're gonna do the usual thing I did to scrape this. We're gonna do document.query selector, right? To select all these results, right? So. And we do document.query selector.all, and we are looking for wikia-items, I think. I think that's what it is. Let me check the inspector again. Yeah, Wikia gallery item. That's what we're looking for. Yeah, looking for that. And show me that node list. What? What? Oh. Oh, I forgot the dot. Excuse me. That's better. That's what I want to see. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Alright. Yeah, so this is what the server is pulling, right? So let's just take a look here. Let's see if we can find something in here that's specifically the name and nothing else, right? So, child element count 2. Let's take a look at this. Alright, children. Let's take a look at children, shall we? Rename that port city map to Pearl Harbor. Hey, that's cool, dude. That's cool, dude. I'm gonna be here for like another... Oh shit, it's 5 minutes still, isn't it? It's almost 8, isn't it? Well... we could do something different for 5 minutes. Was it, yeah, it's like 70-50. Just look down, 753. So what do you think of my model? What do you think of my model? It's about time I think I start wrapping things up, so... I'm gonna go ahead and shut a few things down. For the interest of time. Let me just check a few things here. Code editor's gone, terminal's gone. Okay, we're fine, we're fine. It's a head bopper. It's a head bopper. I lost a lot of subscribers when I posted those vids. That's sad. I'm sad, but I don't know. It's okay. It's okay. We'll just keep making what we want. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Wait, did my chat disappear? The fuck? Hold on. There it is. Haha. Let me change that to live chat too, just in case. Whenever you're a VTuber, you're always gonna have some scuff. Let's see, where am I? Where am I? There am I. Alright, alright, alright. I'm gonna turn that music off, or at least pause it. But yeah, so next week we're gonna do something like, we're gonna do some Katawa Shoujo, right? You ever heard of Katawa Shoujo, Poon God? Yeah. You probably don't play story games that much. I don't think you're much of a story game or a live, what do you call, visual novel person. Am I right? Am I right? But yeah. So like, I have Katawa Shoujo planned for like Thursday, right? And we're gonna finish that up. I think I'll go ahead and turn on the NSFW filter just for convenience. You know, that was just, I was showing up my model last week, right? I had like the programmer socks and everything. Unfortunately, I also made them green, like Kirby. Kirby. Kirby, 7 day. Kirby, he's here to stay. Anyone remember that one? You remember that show? I remember that show. That was a good show. It was like on 4Kids TV or something. Yeah. But yeah. Fortunately this time, let's look at a few memes before we go. Let's see if we could find some memes, some memes. What's good? What's good? I'm very tempted to open up Fediverse. Let's just open up my Fediverse. And I'm thinking about updating my, I don't know. I want to move to a more open source version of Discord. You know, everyone likes Discord a lot. I'm going to keep Discord. Oh, you haven't seen it? Oh, darn. That's too bad. His coffee, the Fed post. But yeah, I wanna set up a Matrix server, and oh yeah, I also wanted to mention I do have a Minecraft server now. I have a Mineclone server. You can just like you can download that on any computer, right? Minetest can be downloaded on any computer, any client, and you can like hook up to my server if you just ask me. I'm gonna set that up here. I should just set that up right now, honestly. And I'll like post that in Discord. You know, I think Discord should still be open, right? It should still be like on my yeah, I'll send like an invite or something. I think you're on my Discord, Poon God. You're already on my Discord, so I remember. I remember. Yeah. So yeah, if you ever want to get that, you want to see what it looks like. It's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. It's a lot like Minecraft, you know, but it's just a little bit different. It's a lot more moddable. I found out it's written in Lua of all things, which is great. I love Lua. Lua's amazing. But yeah, yeah. So I've been like messing with the variables for like for creepers and whatnot, and I don't know. I kind of want to mess with diamond generation just a little bit, just a little bit. You know? It's really hard to find effing diamonds in survival. Like holy crap! And like the mobs are like they can very easily kill you even with iron armor on, and the Nether. Yeah, I'm Billy Leet now. You leet? Can you leet speak, my buddy? Can you leet speak? Yeah. But yeah, thinking about the yeah, I still have to lock down the mine test server and make it all proper so it's like easier to like invite people instead of just handing them the freaking server number and just having them register. Just having everyone and their mother registered to my server, which is kind of dangerous, which runs a lot of things, and I'd rather, you know, have it locked down. So, you know. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It'd be a lot of fun to play with like other people and whatnot. I haven't got any takers yet, but you know, maybe I'll start playing it. Maybe I'll start playing it on like a Friday or something if I have time. But lately, I'm not really looking for a job, so I kind of have to put more energy into looking into jobs than streaming, unfortunately. I was thinking about actually taking a hiatus next week because there's some things I really want to do that don't involve streaming. One of them is make an animation for my Oshi Pippa, and another one is I kind of want to learn how to do audio mastering, honestly, because I can do music pretty well. At least I think I can. But like, there's certain things like there's no real pitch correction for OBS, right? So like whenever I do song streams, right, it's very hard to stay on pitch a lot of times, and like pitch correction would make it sound a lot better. Maybe add a reverb filter along with it as well, so we can get that high quality voice that like Pippa's got, you know. And so yeah, I'm thinking more about focusing on a lot of audio projects lately too. So, and as I've mentioned, I kind of want to take a look at the oh yeah, oh Pungat, have you seen this yet? Have you seen this? I was thinking of designing a game. You should. It's very difficult, but you should definitely try it. It's okay to try hard things, even if you're bad at it. You know, it's actually good for you. But yeah, yeah. You can repeat this test, and if I speak really low like this, it's gonna register my voice as a very high, in comparison. See, 129 hertz. I'm a voice cell. I'm a certified voice cell for speaking like this. What does 129 hertz sound like, right? Right? What is that? What do you think that sounds like? Let's go take a look. Let's go take a look, shall we? See. See, this is what 210 hertz sounds like. Did I sound like that? No. How about what was it? 129 hertz. 120 hertz. What does 129 hertz sound like?
3, 2.
Fuck you. When I sound a lot low like this, I mean, clearly my voice is 120 hertz, right? Yeah. It definitely sounds like 120 hertz. Am I right? Nah, couldn't be. Anyway, yeah, you should try that out. It's called hold on. It's called. Here you go. I'm gonna paste some chat. Here you go. Have fun. make money, and then get my own house for my mom and bro. Hell, it's a good dream, man. Everyone wants a house. Everyone wants a house. Nobody's got any fucking money. Yeah, it's a good dream to have. I mean, you know, I hope you get there. I hope you get there. I hope everyone gets there. You know, it's really hard right now. Tech industry is pretty difficult at the moment. You know, there's a lot of things going on there. A lot of competition for jobs, unfortunately, and you just have to stand out, talk to people. You know, try not to be an asshole like me. So, you know, I do my best, and I've really tried. You know, I guess some people just found me. I was a part of this Discord group, and I got banned from it recently, and I'm kind of bummed out about it. But you know, whatever, I guess. Anyway, um, it is time. It is 5 minutes over, so I'm gonna have to call it here for the night. You know, I'll be around later. I gotta do a lot of work. Gotta do a lot of job hunting. You know, gotta do a lot of stuff. So say, hold on. Let me clear a few things right here. Let me clear a few things here. Ja matane. I will see you Thursday. We're gonna play some Katawa Shoujo. We're gonna hopefully finish that up. I think we're on the arc where we're talking to the cute no legs girl. She runs on her blades on track and is gonna get us to run fast like the nurse wants us to or something like that. But yeah. Okay. Enjoy the outro. Bye bye. Night.